Hello, and welcome everybody to Drone Therapy Season 3, Episode 25 with our special guest, Steve Coutts, who's going to be joining us in just a split second. But first, I want to go around the room and introduce our panel, and I'm going to pass it first to John Cuppi.
Hey, Bill, it's great to be back. Good to see you. Good to see everybody again. And yeah, this is going to be a great show tonight. We've got Steve. And, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Nemo because I just want to get right into this.
John, I hate to be the same way. I mean, follow the same suit as you, but I actually went to Steve's YouTube, and I'm really psyched. I mean, it's got a really good content. You guys should check it out. But Bill, it's always good to see you and John, and I will pass it to my good friend Ethan.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be here, and I hope everybody had a good week. We had a good show for you tonight. Steve is his work is amazing, so I can't wait to see what he's got to say. And with that, I'll pass it over to Bill.
All right, and we're glad to have everybody here. And Steve, you want to tell everybody, hey?
Hey, thanks so much, guys, for having me on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Okay. Well, I had really was hoping the guys would kind of give you all a little bit more, but since they didn't really say a whole lot, and Steve's cool with it, and I want you all to know who these guys are with me each and every week. So I want you to check this little deal out for each and every one. So I'm going to do John Cuppi first. Please remember that web address and go check out his channel. And now, Nemo. And please remember his web address and go check out his channel. And yes, hopefully in a week or two, I'll change it so doesn't everybody have the same music. And now, Ethan Mitchell. And again, our special guest, Mr. Steve Coutts. Yes, I was playing last week. So. All right. So, as I had said in the description, and I will tell everybody here. Once the comments blew up, I didn't know everybody was here. Glad to have everybody here. I can see a lot of people in the house. Oh, John's even using his Canadian Drone Hub glass. I can see Mark Fishing Channel. I can see David Smith. I can see Thomas O'Sullivan. I can see the Canadian Drone Hub. I can see Rigor Mortis. I can also see Drone Shots. Hey, Jody, good to see you. Good to see you. And I've got everybody called out so far. And with that, I'm going to go. Didn't you have some questions you wanted to ask Steve, Ethan?
I did. Actually, I got a list made up.
Well, turn it over. Take it off. Start us off.
So I guess since we're going to jump right into talking about drones. So Steve's up in Canada. So Canada has a little different laws when it comes to drones. And I was asking if they're excited about the new Mavic Mini that's going to come out that's projected to be under 250 grams.
Yeah, I mean, I believe people will be excited because when the laws came into effect June 1st of this year, people got really crabby because in order to fly your drone, you need to pass the test, you need to register, do all this stuff. Well, sub 250, you don't need to do that. So I would assume people are pretty happy about that.
Right. Yeah, that'll be very, very helpful, especially for me, being here in the U.S., I always feel like, if I ever want to go travel to Canada, am I going to have to get a special license, to fly my drones up there? Or if I had a Mavic Mini or anything else under 250 grams, could I go up there and use that without having to, buy an additional license?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure how that will work sub 250, but right now, as an American or a foreigner, you came to Canada and want to fly your drone, you have to apply for a special flight operations certificate. So you have to go to a Government of Canada webpage, fill in all your info, and a few weeks later, maybe they'll grant you permission, maybe they won't, right? I expect they would in most cases, as long as you're not asking for something crazy. But still, it's quite a process, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Well, I have a whole list here. So if anybody else wants to jump in.
Can I jump in for a second?
Let Ethan finish.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
I see all you guys have got all these drones pinned up on the wall there. I got to get some action on my background next time, eh? A bunch of dead drones, or are those the live ones?
Mine are live.
They're live.
Yeah, all the ones back here. Yeah, all the ones back here are live too.
And the unique thing about FPV flying is if it's dead, it can be alive at any given time.
Amen. Amen.
Now this one's right here. It should be alive tomorrow.
Look at that. I only have one. I feel inadequate.
Well, I got two. No, actually, I got 3 FPV drones. One a friend built for me, and I've got 5 or 6 camera drones, not counting the toys. Yeah, we could send Steve a Bugs 3. All right,
yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
No worries. So how long have you been doing YouTube?
YouTube. I started my YouTube channel June 1st, 2017. So just over 2 years.
Very nice. Now, did it start off like doing vlogs like you have, or how did you get the idea of what you wanted your channel to be?
Yeah, I honestly, when I started, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. If you go back, I have left every video I've ever produced up on YouTube. All the ugly scars, the nasty stuff, it's there if you want to go check it out. Not many people do, but I had no idea. My whole purpose, my whole goal was just to get better at making videos. That's how I started this whole thing. And I said to myself, well, the only way I'm going to get better is just make some videos. I didn't know what I wanted them to be or be about. Just start making some stuff.
Right. Now, so you've been doing it for just about 2 years, or just over 2 years now. And so your subscriber count, you're very close to 10,000, correct?
It just crossed 10,000 just before we went live.
Wow! Congratulations.
So, yeah, thanks.
I helped with that. I would definitely.
I
was like, wow, I got to subscribe to this guy. He's good.
Drone therapy helped with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. No, I completely blown away. I never expected that.
So for anyone else, what kind of advice would you give to anyone that's has a channel or starting a channel to what is your advice to gain some traction?
I think for me, it was just try to just keep creating, right? I told myself when I started, I'm just going to create one video a week for 1 year and just see where we're at after 1 year. And I was able to stick to that. I think for my first year, I created more than one per week. I also created, I think, a one per week my second year. After that, it's been sketchy at times because I've been kind of burnt out. But I think consistency is a big part of that. Giving people something to expect every week. And I've also tried to make each video better than the last one, improve the quality. So kind of constant improvement.
Right. I've noticed I see some people that are more about quantity versus quality, and I definitely see your videos have got a lot of quality to them.
Well, thanks, Ethan. I appreciate that. I tell you, I labor hard to come up with ideas and try to come up with unique ideas. I don't want to just mirror what somebody else is doing, and I appreciate that. It's I do put a lot of time and effort into my videos. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, it's definitely seen. It definitely comes across.
Thank you.
So anyone else?
We thought you had a list.
I do have a list.
All right. Everybody's like, oh, that was a question I was going to ask. So just keep it rolling if you're ready to go.
Okay. So I noticed that you use the Spark quite a bit, and the Spark, for what it is, it's definitely a phenomenal drone. It was actually my second drone was a Spark, and actually I shot our whole honeymoon with that thing down in Belize. But what is your favorite drone shot that when you go fly an area? What is that one shot that you typically like to get all the time?
Geez, that's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that one. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know if there's any one particular thing. I do like to shoot a variety. And if you watch some of my stuff, you know that I try to be a little bit unconventional. I try to get really up close to things, sometimes to my own detriment. But I just like to get a variety of my shots. I don't think there's one go-to shot that I always, I'm looking for or have to get.
Mm-hmm. And as far as like when it comes to like vlogging or doing B-roll, what is your go-to camera?
Well, my go-to camera for like my main camera now is a Canon EOS-R. It was I started out. I'm a photographer, and I started out just using my Canon 5D Mark III to shoot video, and it's not great for video because the autofocus is just terrible, and it's a real pain in the butt. I migrated from that one to Canon 80D because the autofocus is just amazing. It's so good quality. And recently I upgraded to a Canon EOS-R. I actually upgraded it for the photography aspects, pictures, but it's great. Shoots great video, shoots 4K video. So that's kind of my go-to now. And the autofocus on it is amazing. My backup B-roll, I shoot a lot of B-roll with GoPro Hero 5. Lots of GoPro, lots of B-roll also. I use my Canon 5D Mark III, little point and shoot guy. He does a lot of B-roll too. It's just simple, and it takes, I think, really good quality, but it's only 1080p as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of
that's main guy. Kind of a cool question there, Rigamortis. He was asking in the chat. He was like, "Is Steve Coutts kind of like a big deal?" And I was like, "No, I just saw him online, kind of looked his stuff, liked what, and said invited him on, and I explained to him."
Yeah, I would say he's a big deal.
Yeah, you got 10,000 subscribers, and you're like blowing up, man. Because when I first started watching you, I think you only had like $3,000, and it was like boom, because that's what back right when we started talking. Because we kept trying to hook up and like we kept missing each other, remember? And it was like, wow, I don't know, maybe I'm just over embellishing it a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I think last summer I had about 4,000 subscribers in August of last year. So yeah.
Okay, so
I tell you, the first 100 subscribers is the hardest.
Okay, so I had a question. So your story goes that you said goodbye to a 20-something year IT career, and you were just like, I'm out, I'm gonna go creative, I'm gonna do YouTube, right? That's basically your story?
Yeah. Well, it didn't start as YouTube. It started from IT to photography, and then that didn't work out super great. So
I was going to ask, like, can you tell us more about that transition? Because there are certainly a number of people who want to just quit and go full-time YouTube, go full-time and do your own thing, but it's not as easy. It's not easy. So anything you can tell us about that whole process? Like, how'd you do it? I guess I'm asking.
Well. Yeah, I guess I had a pretty long IT career. I owned my own IT consulting company for a while, and I was an absolute workaholic. And I think I worked myself to the point of being burnt out, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And along that path, somewhere in like 2010, I picked up a camera, and I don't have one of those stories, those romantic stories where I was 12 years old and my dad gave me a camera. I wasn't that guy. I started shooting pictures quite late in life, and I really fell in love with it. I guess this long dormant creative side that had never been tapped. So I finally just took the plunge and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm kind of done with IT. I'm burnt out. I need to do something different." And I decided, well, I'm going to be a photographer, and that was a bit of a lesson because you kind of go into thinking, well, I'll just earn a whole bunch of money taking pictures, and it's not that easy. And I think I was working a lot harder for a lot less money. And I think monetizing that process actually ruined photography for me. There was about 2 or 3 years in, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to take pictures anymore. And so I stepped back for a while and I said, you know what? I just want to create. let's just start with bringing it back to creation. And that's about the time YouTube came in. And I said, I'm not setting any expectations on YouTube. I don't care about subscribers. Well, I mean, I do care. But I'm not going to say, I have to be this many subscribers. Or I have to make this much money. I just want to create and just create honestly and see what happens. And I think that's been the most freeing thing about this process. It's like, I took away the expectations and now I can just create and I feel good about it. And it's kind of rejuvenated me.
That's great. That's an awesome story.
Well, that was what just when I was kind of, because I was kind of you laughed about the promo I made for you because I was reading some of the stuff on your Instagram page and on your Twitter page. And so I was kind of throwing some stuff together because normally I've noticed that we seem to pick up a few more views if I do like a promo before that, but I was like, they're all kind of dull, so I wanted a little more spice to add to it. And you're saying that about, create, forget the expectations, just create something, anything. And that's what a creator is. And that's what kills me. And I've brought this up before. We've got all these channels on YouTube that are saying, this is how to build your channel. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I've considered myself a creator just because I'm going to make stuff that's going to make me happy. And I hope that other people like it. But I'm not going to force it on them. And
yeah.
I'm going to share with them, and hopefully they get the same philosophy and ideas that I do. And like drone therapy, my philosophy about drones is if you've had the worst day in the world, you're stressed out from all get out, you can come home, you put a drone in the air, you start seeing the feed on the video screen, and after about 2 or 3 minutes, you're like, oh,
yeah,
drones are therapeutic. And that's the way I see it. And if you're going to be a creator, then create. You don't have to follow everybody else's rule of thumb. And I love that. And that was what really intrigued me. That and the way your changes, your transitions, all that stuff I thought was unique. There's so many, creators out there that have used the same formula that they've used to get successful with for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're not really experimenting with anything new, and it's just dull now. And your stuff actually intrigued me, and I'm gonna really blow you out of the water. I even think that it's on the lines of another Canadian, Peter McKinnon.
I'm not anywhere near his category. That guy is a wizard. He is from another realm, I tell you. I appreciate that though, Bill. But good pickup on that. My YouTube about there. It's like that sentiment really came out of failing at photography, like going in with the wrong expectations, and then to the point of I didn't want to do it anymore because it wasn't fun. So, round 2 with YouTube, I smarter. I learned my lesson. Create. Be honest about creating stuff and.
Well, actually, I had a question talking about how you quote unquote you failed at photography. Can you expand on that, more, especially for some people who do want to, quit and jump into photography? Maybe you can give some insight on that. Like what went wrong? Basically, is what I'm asking. You're 20 years in IT. You're like, I want to make my hobby into my work. What happened?
Well, I think I went in with the wrong expectations. I thought, I'll just become a photographer and I will replace my old IT salary with this photography salary. And I think setting a monetary expectation was the wrong thing to do. I think it should have been, go shoot some pictures, make some pictures, and the money will follow if you're creating honestly. And I probably shouldn't say failure. That's a pretty harsh word. I did okay, but it didn't meet the expectations that I set when I quit my job, and that made it hard to accept. So I didn't want to do that again, second time around.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I have to say that's really, to hear your words and the way you're speaking, and it just you sound so humble, and I think that adds to the genuine feel of your channel. I think you're just a genuine person, and it just we've been talking how long, maybe 20 minutes, and I already tell this guy's the real deal. And when you talk about creating honestly, that's going to stick with me. I think that's really, really good advice. And I think a lot of people are just caught up in I want views or I want this or that, or the biggest thing is I want subs. I got to have subs, or they'll make one video that gets, you know, a couple of hundred views and they'll keep doing the same video over and over and create honestly. I love that. I love that.
It's a good
Well, that's one of my, you've heard me, I've said it too many times. I've seen too many channels that have come into being that will play off of the, you know, the creator aspect. But the whole point is that they'll tell you what kind of creator they think you need to be, you know, and then they'll say, okay, you need to worry about the algorithm and you can't use this word and you can't use that word. And, you know, and I'm like, it's too, because I have to have a different list for everybody I interacted with on YouTube. So I'm just like, I can't do that. I'm just going to be Bill. Hope you like it.
Yeah. And I'm pretty good at being Steve.
Yeah.
So, I mean, trying to be somebody who I wasn't, I don't think that would have been sustainable. And, you know, as far as trying to, if I was basing or you know, putting all my stock in views or subscribers, I mean, that's going to be pretty tough because YouTube is very competitive. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Hey, I want to make a couple of videos and make $1 million a year. Well, not everybody's going to get there. And I just felt like if I just do quality work, well, the subscribers will come, the views will come. Don't worry about it. Like, don't focus on that. Of course, I look at it. I mean, I'm a human being, but
You can't help it.
you can't help it. But don't. You know, don't be sad today because you lost 5 subscribers.
Yeah.
Don't be sad because your last video only got 400 views. It's like, just go make another one, you know?
So what would you say as far as having, you know, somebody like me that's more of I'm kind of pigeonholed into like FPV. That's like my thing. And so branching out, like having, what would your advice be? Like maybe having more vloggy stuff, or what would you say to somebody that's kind of pigeonholed into one specific type of, you know, genre, so to speak?
You know, excuse me. I'm not sure I have that answer because, well, I'm kind of pigeonholed with the Spark, and the Spark is, you know, it's on its way out. So how do I transition? And I never intended to be a Spark guy in the first place. I intended to just make good videos. But the Spark was a good success story, and I like it, and I like doing the Spark stuff, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I don't know how do you get out of that pigeonhole, or how do you broaden your horizons? I'm not sure yet. Maybe it's going to play out.
Well, I'm following you, so hopefully,
yeah, you're gonna see it live.
All right, cool, awesome.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my voice is kind of starting to go here. I've been fighting a flu and a cold the last week, so at least I'm not having a cough attack right now.
Yeah, well, that's cool. We'll bear with you. Like I said, we're super laid back, and we got 17 watching us right now. Pretty cool. I want to go jump back into the chat real quick, give Steve a chance to drink a little bit of water. Call out to Drone Life RC, Chris Hope. I saw the grumpy vlogger Lloyd Mendenhall's in the house. Jay Santiago. Let me see. I've already said Arts Fishing Channel, but what the heck? I'll say it again. Canadian Drone Hub had to take off. He was calling it a night, or he may have another stream to go to, so maybe he was doing that. And Drone Shots was saying, here is one of my best videos from 2008. First time trying floats. Huh. Okay, so yep, y'all see that one linked. Drone Pool. Dang, glad to see you. And Grumpy was saying, I vlog for myself and for fun. Yeah, exactly. There's you another creator that's just a creator. He creates for himself. Your Grumpy vlogger. And
I like the name.
Yeah, he's got people that will follow him tooth and toenail. As a matter of fact, he's running on an independent platform for president of the United States in 2020. Oh, let me see. Okay, and we got let's see, Tipix Lips or tip. Okay, somebody say that besides me.
He's a subscriber on my channel. Yeah, just
very cool. I'm glad that Steve's glad to have you here. We're glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
Josh is in the house. Want to say hi to Josh. We're about caught up, and I see Drone Life said hey to Nemo. And is it okay? I'm not hearing Drone Life. You've been under the weather recently. You just came back, and nice shot for the Enterprise on the Icon. Trek rules, man. Trek over Star Wars, in my opinion, all day long. Anyway,
Ooh, that's
I know.
You're a brave man to go down that road.
All right, so you're saying Spark is on the way out. Ethan's already mentioned it.
Wow.
We've got 2 drones on the horizon. One called the DJI Mavic Mini that's been approximated at under 250 grams, and the nearest rumor that we're hearing now is it only shoots 2.7K, which, forgive me, I know it's being anal and probably childish, but that's a deal breaker for me because that was the biggest gripe I had about the Spark. And then the second one was the 2-axis gimbal.
So yeah, Steve mentioned something about that. Like, what do you primarily shoot in? Like 4K, 2.7, 1080. What is your choice?
It's been pretty much all 1080p. Once I got my iPhone could do 4K and my GoPro could do 4K, but nothing else could. Once I got my Canon ESR, it can do 4K. So when I shoot videos where you see me talking, a lot of times now I'm shooting that in 4K. My last video, or my second to last video, which was the shooting the thumbnails, I shot that whole thing in 4K. Lighting's terrible because my condo, you see behind me, I got big windows, so it's nightmare to manage the lighting. But it was so massive. Like, I had this huge, I don't know what it was, 128 gigabytes of footage that I have to sift through. I'm like, why did I shoot that in 4K? So short answer, mostly 1080p, 4K, me sitting in front of the camera, or I will shoot some 4K like B-roll shots and stuff. When I know I want to maybe crop in later and post, I'll shoot some 4K, but I don't shoot a ton of 4K because it's an insane amount of room.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
We had a discussion about that earlier, and I was kind of taking a stab at Bill, and he got a little upset because I was dogging him out a little bit about 4K, but I was playing. He knows that.
Yeah, I asked one of my friends. He owns a video production company, and I said, "Are you guys like shooting everything in 4K?" And he says, "No, we typically shoot because that stuff gets broadcast on television stuff. We shoot most of it in 1080p." He says, "Unless the client asks or there's some other need, we shoot it in 1080p." And he kind of was saying the same thing because it's just an insane amount of space. And they have 8K now, and like I don't know. I'll get there eventually, but yeah, for now I'm happy.
Yo, Steve, I agree with you. And when it comes to video that you get from FPV, the FPV drones, we do a lot of fast movement, and YouTube in particular, which is where most people upload, they crunch your 1080p video down to as low as 8 megabits. So to even get a good looking video, what a lot of people in FPV do is that we keep the system. We export our videos upscaled at 4K 60, so that way we get up to 50, 60 megabits. So, because otherwise it just looks like a pixelated mess.
Mm-hmm.
So when people record their stuff in 4K, it's like, okay, great, you're gonna upload it to YouTube, and YouTube's just gonna destroy it while someone watches it on their cell phone in 1080 anyway. So
yeah, that's exactly it.
It's hard to justify even working with the big files and all that stuff. So I like 1080 at 60, honestly. I same.
I personally feel that bitrate is more important than actually the resolution, because I know because all the drones that I have can do 4K at 100 megabits per second, but my Canon can do 720p at 95 frames per second, or 95 megabits and 60 frames a second. And when I blow that up to 4K in Final Cut and export it, you can't even tell on YouTube that it's 720.
Oh, really? You blow 720 up to 4K, eh?
Yeah, because the bit rate is so high on the
Yeah.
720p that
Yeah.
it really doesn't lose a whole lot of like quality. And then when you upload it to YouTube in 4K, it doesn't compress it as much.
Yeah. Same for the Hero 5 session too. Hero 5 session pretty much tops out at like, I think it's 70 megabits. So if you upload that to YouTube, you're hardly using much. If you film 1080 60, you'll end up with like 60 to 70 megabits. So then you upscale that 1080 60 to 4K, and you really don't lose that much. You just lose that initial from whatever YouTube initially encodes. But yeah, upscaling is a really big thing. It's unfortunate that we have to do that, but YouTube just destroys all of our video. So when I see some people being like, "Oh, if a drone doesn't have 4K, I ain't buying it," I'm just like, come on.
I'm looking more at the croppability and the usage of the area. You know, you got, and like you said, you can crush it down to 1080, but you've got a lot more to deal with at 4K.
You know, I can't see them not putting 4K on it. It's the standard. You know, that the little white drone back there, the Unique Breeze, it's got 4K, and that was released 3 years ago.
And we got toy drones with 4K on it. But
Right.
everything I'm telling you, everything I'm hearing is saying that it's going to be 2.7, roughly 20 to 23 minute flight time. It's basically going to have the same sensor that the Mavic Air and the Mavic have, but limited. So, okay, here's my theory. There's a reason to this. They're planning on making a Mavic Air 2.
Or something pro or something like that. It doesn't
Right.
like
And,
I think
the deal is they don't want to push it up enough to step on the Air because they've already begun working on another model. That's the only other reason I can think of. Why are you going to make a foldable Spark but barely upgrade the camera?
Well, I mean, they could give it 4K and just not any color profiles. So then it wouldn't be stepping on the
As a
Mavic
matter
Air.
of fact, we got a 4K
Yeah.
sensor on the Spark, though, right?
I mean, the picture profiles that you get with the pro level drones, like, you know, the Mavic Pros, where you get the Decenti like, and then the HLG and all that stuff is, for me, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, but like I'm saying is well, why do you want to? I don't think I guess maybe they're just going for. Originally, what they were going through with Spark is it's just going to be like a vlogging drone or a selfie drone.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be standard profile, just like the Spark, but it definitely should have a 4K camera. I think that'd be a huge mistake on their part if it didn't.
That's what I think so too. Because I was talking, I can't remember what the guy was I was talking to on one of his channels, and he was talking about it. And I said, "Well, dude," I said, "no offense, don't get mad at me." I said, "But I'm not going to buy it if it doesn't have 4K." And I said, "DJI needs my money. And there's going to be a lot of other guys like me that think the same thing." I said, "And here's the deal. We got a drone coming out that can fly itself for $1,000. And it's got 4K at 60 frames a second. So I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, I want to pay $400 or do I want to double that and get one that'll do what I tell it to do?"
Right. Well, you know, I think the biggest competitor with this Mavic Mini is still going to be the Parrot Anafi. That thing, you can get a refurb for $400, and that camera on that thing is awesome. Not to mention all the stuff that it can do, and it's quiet, and it flies for 25 minutes. You know, it's definitely. I still think it's definitely going to be a winner this year.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Well, and Parrot's got that. They've come out with that new enterprise program.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you actually operate a professional drone company, you can work with them and they'll bring out some units for you to test and to use for your business for, I think, 3 to 6 months. And then, you know, you can get in their trials and whatnot and have your input in the development of future items and stuff. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I like the Anafi so much that if Parrot came out with that same form factor and put a pro level camera on it that, you know, could do a little higher bit rate and maybe have a little bit more, you know, better image quality, I probably wouldn't even fly the Mavic 2 Pro.
Really?
Yeah, it's just so easy.
Okay, I got to keep the running gag going. John, did you get a text from Crystal saying that she's coming home soon and the garage door is going to open? And you went, "That's okay, I'm inside."
Nope, I got a garbage phone call.
Oh man, I was really hoping that.
Calls.
I'm coming home. Don't take your chair.
Hey, I'm just curious, Steve. Were you writing down some information as Ethan was talking about the Parrot Anafi? I saw you kind of look over. Yeah,
I'm keeping notes.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Those are the guys. Those are the guys that Ethan is very well versed, and so is John on that stuff.
Now, see, I know the 4K. It has a 4K sensor on it. It can shoot 4K pictures. But I had never. Have you all ever heard this?
No, I haven't heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
My understanding was that the camera itself is good for it, but the onboard processing isn't.
Yeah,
actually, Thomas is correct. The Spark can be hacked to shoot 4K. That is correct. But it will not be. But it will not be stabilized in the pan axis if you do that.
And that's got to be a pretty low bit rate too, though. Hey.
Yeah, the Spark only's got like 24 megabits, 24, 25, something like that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. I doubt it would look very good.
Yeah, I don't think being that it's maxed out at 1080p, if you bump it up to, and it's already cropping the sensor, I don't think the bit rate would change at all with you bumping up the 4K.
Interesting.
That thing, the Unique Breeze, even though it's not stabilized, and I wouldn't recommend anybody buying that now today. It's my first drone. Everybody remembers their first, but that thing in 4K cranks out 45 megabits, so it's almost as good as like a GoPro. It's just not stabilized, so it looks terrible.
Yeah, I didn't honestly. I didn't even know about that Parrot drone. I tend not to follow too many of the rumor sites. I kind of like to be surprised. You know, I mean, they do show up on my Twitter stream, and I do hear about them, but I like to see what happens when they go live. And
yeah, Steve, I'm with you. I don't like to delve too much into all the DJI rumor stuff. There's so many people that see something and they're like, "Oh, this is it," and then they find out, "Oh, well, that source was complete BS." So I'll read some of it, but otherwise, when it's there, show me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really want to hear it very much.
And and two, also just philosophically, I'm not always just chasing the latest tech. I'm working on my skill set. I learned long ago that a better camera, a better whatever, is not going to make me better. It's just going to empty my wallet a lot quicker.
Oh yeah,
Steve.
I've noticed it causes problems with my wife too.
That's a great thing that you said, because so many people out there, we're constantly bombarded in the drone community of, "Oh, there's new this, there's new that," when we have stuff right in front of us that we've purchased that's just a year or two old, even 3 years. It's awesome. Use what you have and you can make something awesome. You don't need to have the latest and greatest. It's true. It's about what you create.
The bad thing is when you reach our age, you tend to go, "Ooh, look, it's shiny."
Well,
I think that's just a man thing. That's a man thing.
I like gadgets. I'm a tech guy.
Man, it's hard.
I like shiny toys, that's for sure. But
it's like because we're all tech nerds too, and then it will be like a new phone will come out, or a new camera will come out, or a new motor will come out, or a new ESC will come out, and like our because we stay connected always, and our chat just blows up, man. It's just like boom, 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 boom. And you'll come back and you'll be like, "Oh wow, 47 messages."
I love it.
Like scrolling back and you're like, "Oh wow, that's cool." Ting, ting, ting.
You know me, Bill. I'm cheap. I keep my phone for as long as I possibly can. I'll keep my original DJI Mavic Pro until the thing flies away or falls out of the sky or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Another plug for the Parrot Anafi. So a lot of people are you're starting to see more of these FPV drone shots now. The Parrot Anafi, its latest update actually introduces a mode where it can kind of fly like that and it's still not going to get all you the flippy floppies that you get with an FPV drone, but it does have that tilted horizon, so it looks like a fixed wing when you're flying it around, and it does really well.
So it's actually like a horizon mode or something. It's not completely unstabilized.
No, it's still stabilized. So if you let go, it's just going to sit there and hover. But as you're pressing forward and you like pan left or pan right, it yaws the whole camera and it kind of banks. So it has that feeling. And then you can increase basically you can really crank up the control inputs. So if you go down, it goes down really fast. If you push up, it goes up really quick. So it definitely really neat. It's probably the closest we're going to get to a camera drone mimicking an FPV drone.
I don't know, but I'm kind of sitting here thinking if Steve gets into FPV and throws some FPV footage of like doing a big power loop in the trees or diving something, I'm like, ooh, wow, I'm getting chilled.
I told you guys earlier on, you've seen my piloting skills. I don't know. That's going to take me a while to get to that level.
But it can happen. You'd be surprised. You really would.
Yeah.
I actually think you'd probably pick it up quicker than you think.
Yeah, maybe. I think it'd be it's definitely something I should check out after talking to you guys and seeing those videos you showed earlier. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
One of the most enjoyable parts of FPVing is the actual building. I think that's one of the. I don't know. It's almost as good as like, when you go out and it flies really good and you're like, I built that,
Yeah, there's something awesome about saying, I built this. This is all me.
All of it.
100%. And you don't get to feel that until once you get it in the air, you're just like, wow, I made this. This is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It makes the video that you capture all so much more better. Just for yourself anyway, at least.
I've noticed lately with the DJI like stuff that I got now that I like watching it so much that I just like to go and fly around. It's just that is so much fun.
Oh yeah.
That's a good point too. Sometimes it's just fun just to go out there and fly. Hey, not have any intention, not try to capture some great shots. Just go fly. I think if there's one thing I don't do enough, it's that.
Yeah.
Just go zoom around and I don't know, just enjoy flying. Like, a kid when you got that first remote aircraft or whatever, right? So
right. I know since I've learned how to fly FPV that I definitely fly the FPV drones more than I fly my camera drones. And I got to remind myself to go out and get the camera drones up. And then I'm just blown away by the footage that they come back with. It's just so crystal clear.
Yeah.
Hey, John, when's the last time you flew a GPS bird?
Actually, I took one up. I threw my Mavic Pro up real brief. I wanted to capture some of the sunset, some of the color, and I snapped some photos real quick and took it down. And I just thought, yeah, this is freaking awesome. This is why I have one of these because, you can't really throw a race drone in the air and do that. You're not going to get it. So. Right. Yeah, I did. I took it out, but that's sort of how I use my camera birds. If I have something I want to take in the moment, then I do it. But otherwise, they don't get flown as much anymore. I will admit that. You can only fly an area so many times before it gets boring. You really got to get out there and find new things to film. Really, it can get boring.
So, Steve, I noticed a lot of your videos. You are definitely in these like epic, like awesome scenery places. Is that close to where you live?
It depends which ones you're talking about. The most recent video, it's about 45-minute drive from where I live, and yeah, it is a beautiful spot for sure. But some of the stuff over the summer, no, that's like hours and hours away. It was just our summer vacation. We were in just beautiful areas, and yeah, absolutely got to get that drone up and capture some of that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely. I live in Baltimore, so not a whole lot of like very scenic places close by. But
no.
Are
you guys allowed to in the U.S.? Are they allowed to fly? Like I see, like people shooting downtown locations. Is that allowable?
Yes.
as long as you're not like
over. So the rule says, and if you're not flying directly over people or traffic, then you're good.
people or traffic,
right? And and if you're within 5 miles of an airport, then you need to get clearance first, which we have the LANT system here, and that's pretty easy now, especially if you have your 107 license. It's real easy.
Cool.
Even if you don't, as a hobbyist, you just go on the app and honestly, you get approved. I've done it multiple times now, and pretty much you get instant approval as long as you pay attention to what altitude is going to be allowed for your area. You go in, you set the app, and you're done. Yeah, you pretty much get instant approval as long as you're within those parameters.
Cool.
Yep.
So I'm curious, like if I were to go somewhere that say is within one of these areas that's not allowed, and I actually get an approval, and say I were to be approached by some kind of, a police officer or sheriff, whatever it may be, how could I prove to that said individual that, yeah, I have approval? Does it give you like something on your phone where you could just be like,
you get a text and an authorization code.
Okay.
That's right.
That's good info.
Oh yeah, it's like right away too. It's like instantaneous.
Like if you're using the Go4, you just enter that code, correct?
I wish. That is one thing I cannot stand about DJI. That drives me nuts.
That's why I said what I said.
Yeah,
You would think it'd work that way.
You're using Go4.
Yeah, that's when the Anafi comes out.
Okay, here's since we've already brought it up and we've briefly touched on the Skydio 2. What if you were going to invest in a new drone, Steve? Would you go for the Mavic Mini or the Skydio 2? And if you don't know enough about the Skydio 2, I'm sure that we'll throw enough out there to get you involved.
Yeah, I've actually been looking at it. When I put out a few videos back, I put out a video about potentially upgrading my Spark, and there were so many comments on that video, Skydio 2, and I'm like, geez, I didn't even know there was a Skydio 2. I heard about the Skydio 1, and I kind of dismissed it because it's fairly expensive. And then I went and looked up the Skydio 2, and it's like, oh, geez, wow. I was quite impressed. And yeah, would I get that? Well, I tell you what, nobody else knows this, but I did put in a pre-order for one. I'm in batch number 3 or whatever. But it's like, nice. It's my $100. It's like, I could decide later if I really want to do it or not. But I thought at least I'll get a position in line.
Yeah.
But I looked at it. It's unbelievable, and especially my wife and I like doing a lot of mountain biking. And I mean, I tried using my Spark.
Let go and say, follow me.
I tried using my Spark for a little bit of active track with mountain biking. Like, forget it, right? Unless you're mountain biking in a wide open swath of land, which we're never doing, it's useless. The first branch that gets in its way, it doesn't know what to do. And I see the Skydio 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, could you imagine that with some, GoPro on my chesty and this overhead view? You could make some crazy videos, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you should get it.
Yeah.
He's already put his $100 down because it's a refundable $100. We're talking about a drone that can fly, what is it, like 27 minutes, something like that. Shoot 460, and I mean, and the cool thing about it is, like he's talking about, you can get you can get the controller, which is Parrot Anafi rebrand, or you can get that little transponder thing that you can just carry with you, or it'll track your phone. One's shorter distances, but it's phenomenal, man. So what it is it not only will take a picture of you, but it will also lock into the signal on your phone or whatever device. So if it loses you, it keeps the signal for the other, and vice versa.
And it's absolutely insane. It can do that autonomous flight at full speed at 36 miles per hour. It can do that autonomous flight, and that blows me away. Yep. And so I thought about, from that aspect, capturing some really cool action videos like mountain biking, unbelievable. But then I thought about, well, what about I want to go shoot manually? How much can I turn off? Can I fly it fully manually, or is the autonomous going to be mode's always going to be in there. And I also thought too, how is that going to be impacted by Canadian drone laws? Can I fly? Would I be allowed to fly fully autonomously? That's turning the drone into the pilot. So I wondered about that, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely, it does look like an amazing product. I'm absolutely blown away at what it can do.
So, kind of playing the devil's advocate, how do you think that will affect, like, as far as if everybody can get those shots with this autonomous drone, what is it going to do to the people that are creators, like such as yourself, where you're getting all this great footage and you're combining it, and now they've got a drone where just anybody can go up and get a beacon in their pocket and start riding down a path and get better than you.
Yeah, that's a super good point. But I still think at the end of the day, it's how you cut that footage together.
Yep.
So much of my videos, like I've gone out, spent a day, shot a whole bunch of stuff, come home, and I'm going like, I got nothing. This is terrible. I'm all depressed. I'm like, oh my God, I wasted a day. And then you start playing with it, you start cutting in. It's like, you know what? Maybe I do have a video here. So, a lot of it does happen in the edit. So, that's only going to, having a drone that's going to capture great footage for you, I think, is only 50% of the equation. But yeah, it's definitely a good point, right?
I mean, that's a good answer. I mean, it does, a lot of it is like, there are people that can go out and get all this great footage, but if you don't edit correctly and color grade, and if you don't know if your editing skills, like you said, that's a huge part of it. So yeah, that was a good counterpoint.
Like no,
yeah, absolutely.
Nobody wants to watch 20 minutes of a drone following you on a mountain bike, right? They don't.
Yeah.
And likewise, like, I see one of the biggest mistakes. I don't know if you feel the same way, but like, some people, my goodness, they leave the whole part of them flying to an object in, but it's not really interesting. They leave that part in. There's so many parts that could just be sliced up to make it shorter and faster to consume, but they don't do it because they don't know how to edit. So at the end of the day, I think video editors will always have a job because people just don't know how to edit.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you know what I find very interesting. So I do all of my own editing, and as well as I know you guys do too. And I feel that is such an important part of the creative process of making the video. That I also shoot weddings. I don't edit those though, but I give those to the guy that that's getting all the footage together. But even sometimes they'll push that out to an editor and just let somebody else do the whole thing. And that just blows me away that they do that for like wedding videos.
Well, I actually got somebody that sent me an email, and it was so funny because it gave me their name and it said, "Hi, I'm a fan." And that was all it said. And it says, if you ever need your videos edited, just send them to me, and gave me this like 8-mile long explanation of why I should send them to them. And I have no clue who they are, and I've never even seen that name on my channel.
Yeah, I'm always curious how would that work, and like how much do they charge, and what if you get it back and you're like, this is not my style at all,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and I mean, so much of your style is in how you edit the videos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if I handed, a project to someone, here's the raw footage, here's the video I did. What could you do with this?
Right.
That sounds almost like a really weird episode. Trade your footage.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Interesting, right?
John, my footage. John can give his to Ethan. Ethan can give his,
a note.
And then we could all edit it.
I like it.
That would be interesting, right?
Actually,
what you should do is give everybody the same footage. Get every, and have everybody edit it.
No, because yours would be color graded better than everybody else's.
Hey, we're all using Final Cut.
Color grade, and we don't.
I didn't say I was going to do it all by myself. I was going to just come back and say it's mine.
We'll have to ban color grading. just to make
So,
it
know who I'd be calling. I'd be like, Jay, Frank, Greg, I need some help.
No, that's not fair. You got to do it on your own. Be
Yeah.
creative. Be creative, Bill.
So back to while we touched on editing there for a second, Steve, what is your do you have a favorite plugin that you like to use or a favorite LUT that you like to use in Final Cut?
Wait, Steve, before you start, let me grab my pen.
So, you don't need the pen for this.
Oh, wait, was he implying that Steve's color grading was better than Ethan's?
No. I'm getting his plugin information.
No. All right, go ahead. All right.
Well, I do. I have used a product called Color Finale Pro, and it does have some LUT packs with it. I think probably my last maybe half a dozen videos, or maybe about half a dozen, I haven't used it. I actually don't do LUTs really, and if I do use Color Finale Pro and use one of their LUTs, it's probably at 24% opacity. Like I dial it way back, and I do color correct. I want to make sure from clip to clip my color looks the same. But when it comes to like color grading, I do use a very light touch. And I remember way back when I was taking a stock photography workshop. You don't know what stock photography is. It's like stock photography is just like, I just take a picture of fruit or whatever, and I put this into a stock agency, and if somebody's looking for a picture of fruit, they can download it, pay the money, blah, blah, blah. And I took this stock photography course, and the guy said, don't get too stylized with your editing and your color, because you're going to give it a shelf life. Well, that's kind of really 70s, or that's really 80s. And I kind of think about that, I always try to keep a light touch with my stuff and just keep it looking natural. A lot of the LUTs, they can be kind of trendy, and eventually they're going to go out of style. It's not to say they don't look fantastic, because they do. And the guys who have a real good touch with them, I mean, they can make stuff look just amazing. But no, I don't use a lot, so you didn't have to write anything down.
I was ready though.
Yeah. But Color Finale Pro was the plugin I used for Final Cut, and it's pretty decent. Does a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, I had already asked Steve permission to show his most recent video while we're here. So this is a feature they're still working on with StreamYard. So if the audio is a little off, just bear with us. Hopefully everybody you can actually comment a little bit, I'm hoping. So let's see if it'll work. And away we go. Maybe if I can get this working. Come on. There we go. I'm not hearing any audio though. Getting audio. Oh, I know why. You know why? Because Bill muted it. cool, man. Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I want to go there and fly that now.
Yeah.
I want to go there and fly that with all the things. My Mavic. I want to bring my build. I want to make a whole bunch of video.
We're going to bring all the
Scares
drones.
me though with the FPV racer, but
No, Steve, I just want to say to you, one of the first things I noticed about your footage, because I am kind of like into like, I really am a stickler for like having good colors and whatnot, is that you're able to like seamlessly match the different cameras. That's the first thing I noticed.
that's true.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The only one I still have a problem with is the GoPro Hero 5 shooting a flat profile. I can never bring it back to life. It seems, I don't know if you have that problem. Everything else, when I'm shooting with all my Canon cameras, they're all very similar. I shoot them with they don't have an S-Log type profile. So I shoot them with like a faithful, or I just do a custom profile. And I just dial everything down, flatten it out, take out all the contrast and saturation and stuff. But GoPro, shoot it flat. It's like, it just seems dead. And I can never bring it back to perfect. It kind of drives me a little bit nuts. But I live with it.
Yep. That's probably my most difficult color or camera to color too. Like the Canons and the DJI Osmo Action actually, and all the drones, they all can match up pretty good. But the GoPro, even in the flat profile, it definitely takes a lot more work than any of the other ones.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It just always seems off.
Yeah, it's just their profiles that they have in there.
Yeah.
If you do decide to get a Osmo Action, it comes with a D-Cine, which is really easy to color grade. It'll match up to a Canon, no problem.
Cool. Yeah.
It also has a higher bit rate than the GoPro 7 too. GoPro 7 stops out at like 75 megabits in 4K, where the Osmo Action goes up to 100. So
oh wow!
It definitely looks a little better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm still stuck with my GoPro 5, so
have you considered upgrading the GoPro to like a 7 or maybe now an 8?
I find with GoPro is like their upgrades are always so incremental. Mm-hmm. You can skip 2 or 3 generations and you're not really getting much.
I don't know about going from 5 to the stabilization. It's in the 7 and 8 now. I think there's a big difference in the stabilization now.
Sure. But I have a couple of gimbals for my GoPro, so it's like stabilization's not an issue.
Yeah. It's even better, so why do worry about it?
Yeah.
I also enjoy the way your choice of music.
I really like that too.
Because I like the I don't know, like the classical or the all just instrumental. That's not very it's not like some crazy techno beat or heavy metal. It's like it's relaxing and soothing. It works really well together.
Yeah, when you're producing videos for people, I mean, it's really hard to choose music that everybody's gonna be okay with, and it was good.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but for me, a lot of times a video will start with music. I have to kind of, because I want a certain mood, and this one was kind of very moody. It's cloudy, it's overcast, there's a bit of snow in the air, it's fall. So I wanted something kind of to reflect that. So a lot of times it starts with that piece, and then also I have a time in mind, right? Mm-hmm. So it's funny. One time I did get a comment, like you said, John, about the music. Like everybody's tastes are going to be different. I got this one comment on one video. Man, that's like the worst song I've ever heard ever. And and I thought, and I looked at the guy's profile, and he was actually a singer-songwriter. And I thought, the music, pretty much all the music I get is from the YouTube free audio library. It's actually really good. It expanded all the time. I've never been hard pressed to find something good in there. And I thought, well, somebody who calls themselves a singer-songwriter, why would you jump on someone else's creative work? Mm-hmm. Lots of other people thought that song was fantastic. Hey, creating stuff is hard, man. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a fantastic song. I thought it fit the video well. Like, come on,
Yeah,
right. Exactly. I've used a lot of the YouTube library stuff on mine. The only bad thing is with that is I've discovered here recently is that, you know, like your older videos that might be a year or two older, they've decided to no longer allow their licensing on that particular song to be free anymore. And I've noticed a couple of my older videos are now getting hit.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So I was like, man, what yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I got that from the YouTube library, and then when I looked it up in the library, it's no longer there.
Yeah, like almost all my flying videos start off with music first before I even start pulling clips in.
Yeah.
So you actually will go through the library, and then when you have like a maybe some kind of idea of what you want to do, and then you'll try to find a song to match what you think you see in your mind, and then you'll get the song and then go out and shoot the footage. Is that how you do it?
No, I will have the footage first.
Okay.
The hunt for the music happens in the editing.
Okay. Time. That's how I do it too.
Was saying too. He's got the footage beforehand, but then you know he like kind of like the only thing is different from me when everybody else does is I'll really like a song, I'll get the vision in my head and I'll go, oh, that's going to take about 3.5, 4 hours. Nah.
Yeah, for me, like an idea. A lot of times, an idea is the hardest part. Like I don't want to just keep churning out the same video after video after video. I try to make them different, a little bit unique. And I sometimes I spend an entire week just trying to come up with an idea, even though I have, notebooks full of ideas. It's still hard. And some people I think can have the ability to visualize right away. I know exactly what I want to do. And I'm not that guy. I kind of have to, I start off with a simple idea and then I have to shape it in my head and work it for days until I think like, okay, I can get behind this. I think I can actually see what I can do here.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, coming up with ideas for tutorials, I think is easier than just like coming out and like doing like a flight video, just because, I have very good direction with a tutorial. Say like, I want to teach how to do this, or I want to do, and for me, it works a little backwards because I'll plan that part out and then the music will come after, and I'll try to hunt for a song that's going to fit in there. Which that part is probably the most difficult part of the whole thing, trying to find a song that fits with what I've already mapped out.
So Ethan, you use Epidemic Sound, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So when you go through and listen, do you like add them to your My Music? You think, well, that's something that I like and I could possibly use it. And then it says add to whatever, and you can add it to your little library. So when you go back and you're logged in, you can click down and see all the music that you do that as well?
So what I do is when I'm going through browsing through Epidemic Sound and I find something I like, I'll just download it. I'll download the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I put that into a separate folder on my computer. And then I'll go through go through them again and like kind of categorize them. Like this one's like kind of fast and techy. This one's a little slow. But I'm always checking out. I go on Epidemic Sound at least twice a week just to like search around for stuff.
Yeah, me too.
All right, I got a question for you guys. Does anybody listen to music while they fly? Possibly music that they will use in the video.
I've only tried it twice now, and I think it's really cool to do that.
Yeah, I haven't actually tried putting one together like that, but it's something I want to do at some point.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I haven't done it yet, but I definitely want to try it. I don't know if I'm at that skill level yet to like get into music and just fly.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point there, Ethan, about doing tutorial videos, I find those amongst probably the most difficult ones for me. And I think it's because it's always trying to keep the scope, narrow. And I think about even my couple of videos ago when I just did the, how to shoot some thumbnails with a simple setup. Well, how deep do I go there? Do I talk about aperture and shutter speed and white balance, or do I just kind of show my simple setup? And it's always tricky, I find, to kind of keep it tight, focus on something. And also I that one I didn't have a script for, but many of my videos, I will have a working script that I use. And especially for tutorials or tech information, I want to make sure that information is accurate, because I've watched a lot of tech videos and a lot of tutorials, and the information just isn't accurate. So I try hard to make sure it is accurate. And I find that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. They're not easy to do.
Right. Speaking of accuracy, that's probably the one reason that I started doing YouTube and I started making tutorial videos about drones, is because that I started watching drone reviews about certain drones coming out, and I came across people reviewing drones that I already had, and I'm thinking to myself, what these guys are saying is not right. Even they've got, and I see all these likes and I see all these comments like, thanks for letting me know, I'm going to go buy this thing. And I'm like, but he's not right.
Yeah. And I've seen the same thing. And I don't do a lot of reviews on my channel. But again, I really strive very hard to make sure that information is accurate. And I think with YouTube now, it's like a lot of guys are just trying to do as many as they can, as fast as they can.
Oh yeah,
that's going to move gear. That's going to sell gear. That's going to, people like buying stuff. And yeah, I don't really have much interest in that.
Yep, we've actually here recently this summer we've seen a lot of other drone channels that do the kind of similar thing that we do. Actually, just starting drama or starting to talk about rumored drones, and just because of the lack of content that they've had to put out.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right?
Yep. That's why I like seeing a channel like yours that, has, can still do the drone stuff, but you also do a whole vlog of just what you're doing that day, which it makes it look spectacular.
Yeah. I don't know. My train of thought. Oof.
It's okay. It's okay. Our friend Ryan came in, so we can holler at him and say, "Hey, real quick, I'm glad to have you in, Ryan." And something I wanted to holler at Ethan real fast. Did I post the proper email address that you want your videos for color grading to be sent to, sir?
Which one did you post?
The BRC one, I think.
Either one's fine. I prefer them to go to the Broad Reach Pro one, but
my bad. Okay,
either one's fine.
Throw the email address up for me, and I'm going to write it down so I correct everything. I'll fix all the links after the show. Sorry, didn't mean to throw out your other email address.
It's fine.
The Broad Reach.
So, guys, I don't think we really finished exhausting the Skydio 2 there. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm in the first batch.
Oh, Bill.
like next month.
Oh, November.
There we go. broadreachpro@gmail. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts out there?
I am not in the market for that, but although
anti-camera drones, man, we can't bring him back from the dark side. He's totally.
Although I will say it really does look impressive. It really does. I'm interested to see some real reviews and people get a hold of it and see what they can do with it.
Yeah.
I think it's
okay.
pretty awesome.
The deal. I've got my fingers crossed. If my wife doesn't neuter me when I tell her that I've pre-ordered it, I'm going to take it to the Philippines next year.
Oh, cool.
So I'm thinking that's going to be, because we're going over there. We're going to have, I've never met her family. So we're going to go over there and kind of have a mini family reunion. And I'm thinking it would be so cool to hold it here and just send it straight back. And we're all waving and running around and whatnot. And it's kind of filming the kids and stuff. I just thought that would be really cool. Plus, I can ride up in the mountains with them and let it go off the side of the mountain for a little ways and can come back.
Yeah.
So do you speak Tagalog?
Tiny bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I didn't know that.
My wife's Filipino. You kind of
I know that. I was just saying.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When like a bunch of my friends are over, they all speak English. But when we go to like a big party where there's a lot of them, of course they all speak Filipino because they're comfortable. They feel like they're home. And after you're there for a while, you pick up on words and stuff. It just happens. And a lot of times they'll just stop and they'll be like rambling along, and then it'll dawn on them that I have no clue what they're talking about. Oh, we're talking about this, which, everybody, it used to be that sometimes I would get like, probably like just sitting there and they'd be like, "Why does it suck so bad?" Because I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. And then but now my whole family, they call it Taglish. So
I love it.
Kind of basically at the same time, so that I can get the gist of what's going on, which is cool. So I keep up with it that way.
Cool.
Oh, wait a minute. David Smith is going next year also. My wife is looking at an Airbnb, and I'm sorry I was still on the drone subject, but yeah, we want to take, because I don't want to take I've got all my other big gear and stuff. I'd rather take something like this over there. That I know it's a moderate investment, but it's something that I can, I don't have to take a whole lot of extra stuff for. Of course, I don't know. I may talk myself out of it between now and then. I don't know.
Make sure you get it insured so they don't confiscate it at the airport.
Yeah, I'm gonna slap that old State Farm personal property right on that bad boy the second it hits the door.
Yeah, when you go to different countries, I always worried about that when you get there, if they're going to take it from you. So, but Steve, to answer your question, I personally am not in the market to get something like the Skydio either. But with that said, I do think for somebody that needs like a tracking drone, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also going to invest probably in an extra battery and the controller so that I can actually fly, myself sometimes when I want to also.
I mean, I'll say this. I'm also not in the market for it, but I'm like Nemo. I think it's really cool. And I will tell you this. I view it as I wouldn't even view it as a replacement drone for my Mavic, because the follow me capability of the thing is just amazing from what I've seen. And today I was riding one of these today. My neighbor was cool enough to let me ride one of these, and we drove all around. There was some awesome fall color, and I was thinking to myself while I was on this bike, I was like, how cool would it be if I had the Skydio right now to take a picture of all this? That would be so cool. So it has good application. I could see myself possibly picking one up, maybe in the distant future, if it really is all that and a bag of chips and truly works really, really well. Yeah, I could see myself picking one up. Maybe used secondhand, something like that.
Hang on just a second on your why.
Actually, the biggest deal breaker for me was that it didn't fold. So, and I know that's kind of like, not really a big issue for a lot of people, but when I go out, to like when I'm going to go out and do some filming, it's like I have like already taken 2 or 3 drones with me already, and they all fold.
It's in a case like this, dude. That's it. This is batteries. This is the block. This is controller.
But I've got 2 cases. I got 2 drones, controllers, chargers, and all batteries for 2 drones in a case that's smaller than that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Also, I tell you what, you guys who are at the forefront of all this, power to you, because I'm sorry, I refuse to be a beta tester for companies anymore. I'm gonna let everybody else try this stuff, because unfortunately, I've bought first runs of things previously, and you just get burned waiting for firmware fixes, or the first production or second production run isn't so great. I'm really, really interested, Bill, in seeing what's going to happen with that
run, and she still flies like a dream.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
No battery
always,
cells.
always.
I
Yeah,
followed all
but-
the directions.
I wouldn't consider a Mavic a beta though, even the first, second, or third one.
Well, I wouldn't consider two MIT graduates to be second-hand engineers either.
Well, the first Mavic, I don't know if you guys remember, at least the very first Mavic actually did have a significant hardware issue when it first released. Does anyone remember the yellowing of the camera? That was a huge problem for a whole bunch of people. It was quite a problem. There was something else as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, and then we had the Phantoms, the classic Phantoms cracking all the time. The shells they would crack. I mean, these are things you don't find out until later. I mean, I like to see how a product is 6 months later. Then that really gets a feel. Once it's been out in the wild and everybody's been using it, then that's when you really know.
Did you see that? What Lloyd was talking about the people were basically they were stunned at what the camera could do or what the drone could do, but they were mad that they were sending it to all the action people that would normally do like GoPros and and DJ Osmo actions and stuff, and they were like, oh, why do they let them test it? Because they're trying to show that we already know that it's a drone.
Yeah, they're trying to hit the different market,
and it can do everything that other drones can do. But it can do a lot more that drones can't do too.
But I think maybe that's going to be their pitch, and it's basically a flying GoPro, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
GoPros when they first came out, like that was like, oh my god, like this first person perspective is amazing, and now you can take this first person perspective up into the air and have it circle around you and do all this magnificent stuff. That's pretty compelling for people who do those action sports. For like the just the I like flying drones guy. Well, maybe that's not. I saw one comment pop up that said obstacle avoidance is only for people who can't fly. And I'm like, maybe that's why I'm interested in it.
Well, here's the thing too, though, is that's what I was trying to say is you can get the controller and fly it just like every other drone out there. And right now there's only 4 drones that shoot 4K 60. So it's right up there with them as a regular standard drone. It's got a respectable 27 to 30 minute flight time. It's got, and a phenomenal bit rate. It's got a better depth of field and a higher dynamic range than the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, you got that benchmark test.
I don't know about that.
Maybe
I have to see it myself.
I'm asking you, do you doubt that benchmark test?
Oh yeah, I definitely do.
Okay, so you just saying it wasn't an independent company.
Well, I just think if you look at the Mavic 2 Pro's 10-bit profile, it's just, and when you're color grading that, you can just see there is tons of information. It's the 2020 color space, which is just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can understand why a whole bunch of people who already have a flying camera, the Skydio, unless you're going to use it like a flying GoPro per se, then to me, I'm just not super interested in it. I already have a camera bird. I already have my Mavic Pro, and at least for me, if I were to just fly it like a regular drone guy on the sticks, I don't feel that I'm going to get anything better using the Skydio compared to my Mavic.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, John, because you're paying a lot for that privilege of having this autonomous flying GoPro, all those extra cameras, 3 on top, 3 underneath, right? So if that's something that, if you're not that guy who wants that kind of, first person footage, well, yeah, maybe why pay that extra money for that drone? You don't need that.
Right.
Okay.
So
here's the deal. How much is it for a brand new Mavic 2 Pro?
It's like $1,800 right now.
And how much is it for a Skydio 2 with a controller?
But I think the Skydio is more in line with the Evo, personally.
Yeah, in a little bit.
Evo would do 4K 60.
American-made drone. They're
so
not
is it Evo's. So is Autel. Autel doesn't have obstacle avoidance. I mean, it doesn't have the no-fly zone stuff on it.
Yeah, but can you really say Autel's an American-made drone?
Their company is.
Well, I thought that
He's American based. And you have true American based.
You mean to tell me Skydio doesn't have Chinese flight controllers in it?
Oh, I'm not. I don't know, but I don't know for sure. I know that it's saying it's an entirely new platform.
It's assembled in America, but
well, I'm sure, yeah, for sure. Because what is it? That's the only place in the world that you can get the stuff to make microchips with. It's the only place on the planet, so you got to have something from there. But yeah,
I was thinking, like I said today when I was on the bike, I was like, oh wow, I was thinking of the Skydio. I'm like, this is what the Skydio is for. And if I was someone who did that kind of thing all the time, yeah, I think the Skydio has a really good value proposition. And also, if you don't already own a drone like the Mavic 1, the Mavic 2 Pro, if you don't already the Evo, if you don't already own something like that, then that's again for $1,000.
Here's my thing for everybody here. Here's my thing for everybody here. You got the Mavic Mini. We'll go ahead and go out there and we'll say with controller $399 US.
We can't say that.
Hang on. And we're saying 2.7K. And over here we got the Skydio 2. We'll go ahead and add the controller, say 1,050. So, which one?
That's a big difference.
I know. I know it's a big difference. I know it's a big difference. Which direction would you go?
I would go for the Mini.
Okay, why would you go with the Mini at 2.7K?
I don't think it's 2.7K, and it's the pure portability factor. When I travel, it's going to be smaller. It's going to be easier to travel with, and I'm probably not going to get hassled in another country.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Remember, I've been to jail in a foreign country before because of a drone. It's not fun.
Yeah, I wanted to see Steve's ears perk up on that one. What? Go ahead, let him have it. Tell him, Ethan.
Oh yeah, Steve. I guess it's 3 years now. 3 years ago, I got arrested in Cuba for flying actually that unique breeze.
Oh wow!
In downtown Havana. So
wow,
it was not a pleasant experience. I do not recommend it.
Yeah, and how did you manage to escape?
Well, once the Cuban military ran my passport and saw I had no military affiliation with the U.S., they decided to let me go.
No. Ethan, tell the better story where you busted out of jail. And,
Right. Yeah, that's what you told us.
Yeah, you missed a great opportunity.
I tell you what, I was scared to death. I was scared to death.
I would be too.
I was telling my friend that was translating for us. I was like, tell them they can keep the damn thing. Just let me go.
Yeah. Well, to your point about portability, Ethan, that was like before I bought the Spark, I had wanted a drone for a long time, and a lot of them out there were the Phantom 3s, Phantom 4s. I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to take this thing, strap it on my hydration pack, and go mountain biking and launch this thing up. And when the Spark came out, it's like, that's the guy, because that one can fit in my pack, and it's not gonna be a burden. Like I didn't want to give up mountain biking for drone flying. I wanted to combine the two. The Spark allowed me to do that. I can take this thing with me everywhere on all hiking and biking adventures and just pull it out when I need to get those shots. Right. So portability was a big deal for me.
Oh yeah. Speaking of portability wise, I love my folding drones. It just makes it so much more convenient, but I don't have one now, but the best portability drone I've ever had was definitely the Mavic Air. It folds up to the size of almost like a little book. I mean, it is, its form factor is awesome. It's just too loud, too heavy. Other than that, it was a great drone.
Yeah, and another point someone brought up on my channel quite a long time ago with the smaller drones is they don't attract attention,
right? Like
the bigger guys do, right? So a lot of times I've been out there flying and people kind of stumble into my space and they don't even pay attention to it. They think I'm just flying a toy, and I like that, Right? You don't really want to attract too much attention out there.
If you actually ever get a chance to fly an Anafi, you'll be blown away how quiet it is.
Oh, really?
Yep. It is the Spark is really loud compared to what this.
Yeah, I have nothing to compare to, but I've actually heard that the Master Air Screw props are quite a bit quieter. You guys have any experience with that?
I think it just changes the pitch. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's quieter because I've used them for the air. So I actually did a video. It's gotten the most views out of any video I've made on my channel.
I'm gonna go watch it.
But anyway, I want to jump in here real quick because I know some people are on the East Coast or have to spend time with their family members, and I would like to give anyone that needed to this moment to bow out and say good evening if they need to.
I will have to bow out and say good evening.
Yep.
But first, I would like to thank Bill, as always, John and Ethan. It's always a good time. And Steve, I am super impressed, really, by your not just your content, but your attitude, your genuineness, and some of the things you said inspired me to start creating a little, it gives me a different perspective on it all. And I really think it, the whole, create honest. I think that's just like, that hits home. That's really, really good. Something good that actually would be a good t-shirt, Bill.
You know what I was thinking? We were all making the joke earlier about retro primitive. I thought it would be an awesome t-shirt for Steve. You could say retro primitive, and you could go backwards from the man all the way down to the little chimpanzee flying a drone. Retro primitive.
Yeah, I like it.
Very cool.
But anyway,
I have to come on here more often to get some creative ideas.
Yes,
we're kind of nutty like that.
I liked it very much, and it was good getting on here and getting to know you. And I'm looking to watching more of your content. And everyone else in the chat, it's good seeing you. And I guess we will talk to you next week.
I'll talk.
All right, see you, buddy.
All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You know that. We always.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Every day. See you, dude. This is sweet.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Anybody else need to take off or do anything? Because I've already got, my wife even said it was cool, so I can stay a little while.
Yeah, I actually have to run myself, Bill. But,
Perfectly cool. Okay, so I've got the address. Don't forget, folks. I want to give a couple of quick announcements here while we're going on. Jason Boyle has gotten in touch with me and confirmed for next week we're going to put some stuff together. So tune in next week for our Halloween special with none other than J Drone. So we'll probably get a little wild and crazy, and we may just talk about a little bit of anything and everything. So tune in next week for Jason Boyle, and we're going to have a Halloween special. Then November 6th, we're going to do Philly Drone Life. I need to get back with Michael and get him lined up. And then November 13th, we're going to have Color Grading 2 with Ethan Mitchell. So again, I will upgrade all those email posts. I will post them in Coast to Coast Drones on Facebook so that you can get your color grading stuff into Ethan. We'd like to bury him, hopefully, but I would like to see him he'd be like, oh, we need to do 2 or 3 more. And then we've got an idea, and Ethan came up with this idea for the show on November 20th. We're going to do a show called Money Shot. So we're basically going to kind of go with the chat and amongst ourselves to see what our, what did you say, 4 to 6 favorite shots with a drone are?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we're going to go with that. And then let me do this. We've come up with something new. We want to add these new segments to the show here and there. Ethan has come up with an idea, something like Tech Tips with Ethan, where he's going to give you software techniques and stuff like that. Maybe periodically, we may even have full shows where we all kind of give you our little tricks and tips and stuff. We're going to have a section after Nemo's already left. We're going to have Nemo with the news. And of course, Nemo's going to have his own little segment with the news. John, I've even talked John into possibly doing a live build, and we'll field the questions and let John continue to work, and he can just voice out the answers while we're talking to him.
Cool.
So those are things that are coming up. And then we're going to introduce something new to the show where we're actually going to try to troubleshoot any kind of drone you all have, either be a toy, an FPV drone, or even a camera drone such as a DJI or, Evo or something along those lines. And I've even created an intro. Hang on. So what we'll try to do is troubleshoot live on the air, and John may even periodically, if we want to do a whole show of the thing, We may line up a bunch of people who are having issues and bring them on and try to work with the chat, from the knowledge from the chat, internet, whatever we can find to try to figure out what's wrong with the drone. So, Ethan, you got to take off. I've run my mouth for about 3.5 minutes now, and I will let you say your good evenings. Sir.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody for coming out and joining with us tonight. Steve, it was great having you on. I really enjoyed talking to you. Hopefully we can catch up in the future. But thanks everybody for coming out. I look forward to next week's show and all the new items that we have in store for you guys. So with that, I will say good night. And thanks, Bill. Thanks, John. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Later.
Thanks.
Have a good rest.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
One other thing I wanted to bring up, I have also something that we were going to, I know we're kind of winding down here. I had meant to do this. Lloyd does something kind of cool and crazy on his channel. So I want to do this. We're going to start integrating this with our channel. And we now have a... This week's shout out goes to Ron Brown, who went down to Spin Up this past weekend and had a good time with all those people. He is on a plane, or presently just landed from his plane from Spin Up, and was unable to join us tonight to give us an update. So he's going to come in for the Halloween show next week. And we're very grateful for Ron to do that for us. You know, Ron's been a member and a grateful panel member on Drone Therapy off and on for quite a time. So it's going to be great to have Ron back, and he'll give us an update on his fun that he had at Spin Up. And I'm going to throw it back in here and say, does anybody want to add anything, or do we want to keep rolling? Or because I think we've gotten down to about 8 people now, and I'm going to go probably here in at least the next 15 minutes and take care of my daughter.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing.
I got nothing too.
Well, I didn't mean to kind of do it that way. I think the deal is everybody made it clear when all the guys were starting to weed out that we would really like to have you back at a future date if you would be interested, Steve. And you can give us an update on your channel, and maybe we'll even have some new footage and stuff that we've edited, and you can give us an idea of if we've advanced or stayed in the same realm.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate you having me on. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys. Feels like I've known you all for a long time after tonight.
That's good.
A lot of fun. Hey, super happy doing this, and I'd love to be on again.
All right, John, I'm going to pass it to you, let you say your good nights, and I'm going to say my good evenings. And Steve, if you'd like to hang on for just a split second after we go off the air, I'd like to say something to you.
You bet.
All right. So, yeah, as always, thanks, guys. First, thanks, Steve, for coming on. Really insightful stuff. Awesome. It was really great to get to talk to you. Definitely want to see you back on the show in the future. So it's awesome. Like you said, I feel like we know each other for a long time. So really, really great. Everyone who showed up in the chat, thanks so much for tuning in. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up on the show. And I think you guys will be looking forward to it. So with that being said, good night, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to
me. So, give it to me since I'm the only one left. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been with us this evening. We're grateful to have had you here tonight. I am very, very grateful to Steve to have had you here. I'm glad I typed in drone and you popped up, and I'm actually glad that it worked out that way, because I feel like we've known you for a while too. The thing, it's just so cool that when we get people in here that gel with us and we've got so much to talk about, we could talk for hours and hours and hours. And since you've had no trouble with the live streaming, what I want to talk to you about afterwards, I got another show that's interested in having you on as a guest. So I'll talk to you about that just in a second as we say our good evenings. Again, I'm very grateful to have had everyone on with us tonight. With that, live long and prosper.